in order to complete work together 16-3, you're going to need page 415 in the textbook, and you're also going to need the worksheet back from 16-1. So make sure you get those out now. What we're going to do is we're actually going to complete the distribution of net income statement and the owner's equity statement. We need information both from the worksheet and from the textbook in order to complete these. So first I'm going to put my heading on both of them since it's the same as right here on the worksheet. You can see A to Z Auto Parts. Right, just make sure you include the correct document name. So we got distribution of net income for year ended December 31st. And on the other one, owner's equity statement for year ended December 31st. Now, distribution of net income statement is exactly what it sounds like. It's figuring out how much each of the partners get to take home with them based on how much the business made. Well, if you look in the textbook, it says they split it evenly, which means they each get 50%. So what we do is we list the first partner's name and the fact that he gets 50% of net income. List the second partner's name, same thing, 50% of net income. Now what we have to do is go back to our worksheet and see what the actual net income was. So I'm going to go back to the worksheet. Right here at the bottom, I'm going to circle it for you. $68,542. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide that in half, and that's how much each partner gets to take home with them. And we just simply write that in next to each partner's 50%. And all we're going to do is we're going to add them back up, make sure we put the right number in, make sure it adds back up to the net income. And if it does, then you can go ahead and double underline. That's an easy one to do. Next, we're going to go right from here into the owner's equity statement. This statement basically just shows the increases and decreases in each partner's owner's equity with the business. So you just have to remember what types of things make owner's equity increase and decrease. Well, two things that make it increase are revenue and investments, and the two things that make it decrease are expenses and withdrawals. Right? So we got to make sure that we list all of that on here. So if you take a look in your textbook, it actually says no additional investments were made. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to follow the model given on page 413 of your textbook. So you can go ahead and take a look at that too, and that's going to help you create this thing so you can see which column the numbers go in. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with our first partner here. All right. You always want to think chronologically. You start with January 1st. All right. We put in each person's share of net income. We take out their withdrawals. All right, I'm going to put the numbers in. You have to make sure you memorize which column the numbers go in. We start in the middle. This person's share of net income from the distribution of net income statement above, right here, this number is going to go in the first column now. Then we have to go back to the worksheet to figure out how much has Matt Cruz withdrawn this year. Well, we go back to the worksheet. We go right across from Matt Cruz's name and drawing, and right there, $18,450. So that's the number that's going to go here. Next, what we're going to do, since net income's a positive number, withdrawals are a negative number, we're going to go ahead and subtract those two. And that's going to give us, in this case, a net increase in capital because the positive number is greater. Right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to figure out where Matt Cruz ended the year. He started with $106,100, right? And that number had come from, I forgot to go over that, this number right here came from the worksheet as well, right here next to Matt Cruz Capital. And then what we can do, so we're going to put December 31st, and then the final number goes in the right column. We're going to follow the exact same process for the other owner, Rose Hurst. Everything's the same since each person shares 50% of the net income. There's no additional investment, so all the headings over here on the left are going to be the same. You just got to make sure you check for the numbers. So for Rose Hurst, I'm going to go back down to our worksheet. Going to find her starting capital right there, $106,700. And I'm also going to go ahead and circle the drawing while I'm here, 18,900, because we're going to need both of those numbers. And I'm going to go ahead and start filling them in. Her beginning capital, her share of net income, which is the same as Matt Cruz because they split it 50-50, minus withdrawals. So what we have to do, we're going to underline these two numbers. One's positive, one's negative. We're going to subtract, and that gives us how much she's gone up this year. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take her beginning capital, I'm going to add her increase, and there you go. So she ended the year with $122,071. And then one final step, we just want to see what the partnership is worth altogether. So we're going to write down here, total owner's equity December 31st. And then we're just going to go ahead and we're going to add up both owner's equity accounts. And you should get $243,992. Once you do that, you're going to double underline all three columns. So what you're going to do is you're going to use this guide to go ahead and do the on your own as well. Good luck.